Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Touch. I'm Darwin Campbell. You know, the Morning Touch is brought to you by the Chaplain for the Homeless and the FSBC in Glendale. Here we are. We are just a few days away from 2022. You've lived 2021 for all of its ups and downs. It's a year to remember, a year to forget. It's a year of gains and a year of losses. But as we drive full force into 2022, there's some things I want you to look at and think about. For some, like the Boys to Men song, people say it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. But in reality, is it? Is it that hard to say goodbye to yesterday? You know, some of us are locked in to our past. Some of us are trapped because of the mistakes that we've made or the things that we've said or the things that we've done. We feel like we have nowhere to turn. We feel like we have no answers. We feel like 2021 has been a complete wholesale disaster. Well, my friends, it's time for you and I, as we move from one year to the next, to take a look. You know, the Bible tells us to examine ourselves. How many times in 2021 did you stop long enough to examine yourself? Every time we sit down and we examine ourselves, we always find something we can do better. We always see that there are decisions that we could have made that could have been better. But my friends, as we move towards 2022, I want us to do a self-examination so that we can start the year off fresh and start the year off right. You know, like the song says, the good times we remember outweigh the bad, but the bad are still there. We'd like to see forever, but forever is going away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Well, in 2021, as I move towards 2022, I'm willing to say goodbye to yesterday. I'm willing to leave it all on the field. I'm willing to let it go. And for many of you, that's what you need to do. You need to leave it on the field and let it go. No matter the ups, no matter the downs, no matter the gains, no matter the losses. This is part one in a series that we're going to be examining to help you go into 2022 with a better spirit and a better attitude, to help you go into 2022 lifted up, not beaten down. Because you're entering a new year with a fresh start. You need to be lifted up, not beaten down. Psalms chapter 11 is where I'm going to begin. As you always know, the Morning Touch, brought to you by the Chaplain for the Homeless and the FSBC in Glendale, will always use God's word. Psalms 11, in the Lord I put my trust, David writes. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to the mountain? For lo, the wicked bend their bow. They make ready their arrow upon the string, that may privily shoot at the upright in heart. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold, his eyelids try the children of men. The Lord trieth the righteous, but the wicked and loveth violence, his soul hateth. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cut. In other words, their cup is going to be full of wrath and judgment. If we don't let go and let God, if we don't give God the priority in our lives, we run the risk of verse 6, being wicked and having unrighteousness and having our cup filled with judgment. But verse 7 is the key. For you leaving 2021, looking at 2022, for the righteous Lord loveth righteousness. The righteous God, the good God, the Yahweh creator God. He loveth righteousness, and that must be our focus. His countenance doth he uphold the upright. The Lord stands behind truth. The Lord stands behind justice. The Lord stands behind righteousness. And that, my friends, should be the starting point of our focal point in as we begin 2022. Here's what I know. Failures, we have them. Blunders, yes, we're involved. Mistakes, we make them. But in reality, the most important thing you do is recognize your mistakes, see your blunders, and understand your failures. Because as you look back in 2021, it may be so hard to say goodbye to yesterday because you're trapped there. You won't let it go. You won't give it up to God because you think you're still in control. But let me tell you what David says in Psalms 11. David says simply, in God I trust. No matter where I am facing my enemies, in God I trust. No matter if I don't have the ammunition to fight, in God I trust. And in much of what we do in life, it is incumbent upon us to say those very words. In God I trust. In God I trust. Because, my friends, it is time for us to consider making God the GPS in our lives. That's what we want to focus on. I love my GPS on my phone. Phones are so smart, they can do just about everything. But one of the greatest things I enjoy is when I'm navigating with my smartphone. The smartphone talks to me and it lets me know, make a right turn. It tells me, take the next exit. It tells me, there's your destination. It can lead you from point A to point B, and you follow it and you get there successfully. My friends, in 2021, maybe you have not selected God as your GPS. I call on you right now to go back. You'll never see your smartphone the same. That GPS is an example of what God can be to you in 2022. If you allow God to be your GPS, He will guide you successfully through the tunnels, through the darkness, through the troubles, through the mistakes, through the blunders, through the upsets. God will be your guide and He will make sure that you successfully navigate whatever problem you're dealing with. In 2021, you didn't do it so well handling all alone. None of us do. We have to see, like David saw, that God is the one that we should take refuge in. God is the one that we should trust. And it's time for us to let go, let God give Him the authority to be the GPS. Say, Lord, I'm here on earth and I'd like to go to heaven. From point A on earth to point B in heaven, Lord, be my GPS. That means that when you make a mistake, when you fail, when you rebel, when there's a blunder, you've got to hear what the GPS says. The GPS will say something as simple as make a U-turn. For many of us, we need to make a U-turn. For many of us, we are going the wrong way. For many of us, we are traveling down the wrong road. We need to get back on the freeway to heaven. The only way to do that is to allow God to be your GPS. And when you hear Him say, make a U-turn, if you are allowing Him to guide your life, you make that U-turn. You turn around. You allow Him to lead and not you. Yes, indeed, my friends, it's time to let go and let God be your GPS. I know it's hard to say goodbye. Some of us really need to say goodbye to 2021. But if you say goodbye to 2021 without making God your GPS, you've made a serious mistake. If you want to have peace, if you want to have joy, if you want to experience happiness in 2022, you've got to let go and let God be the GPS. Listen to Him when He says, make a U-turn and take refuge in Him in the way that David took refuge in Him. Trusting Him. David said, in God I trust. My friends, it's on our money, but do we live it? It's on our money, but do we believe it? In God I trust in 2022. The Morning Touch is brought to you by the Chops for the Homeless, FSBC in Glendale. Be encouraged today. Come back tomorrow for another lesson as we roll towards 2022. God bless you. See you next time on The Morning Touch.